First, has there been any conclusion on missing tape from, I think it was a December 2013 briefing when it was posted online? It had a few minutes that were cut out of it. Has there been any resolution on how that happened?
Yes, and thank you for that question, Brad. As many of you know, and I want to be specific on this, so I'm going to refer to my notes a little bit. As many of you know, and as some of you have brought to our attention, a portion of the State Department's December 2nd, 2013 press briefing was missing from the video that we posted on our YouTube account and on our website. That missing portion covered a series of questions about U.S. negotiations with Iran. When alerted to this, I immediately directed the video to be restored in its entirety with the full and complete copy that exists and had existed since the day of the briefing on the Defense Video and Imagery Distribution System website, otherwise known as DIVIDS. I also verified that the full transcript of the briefing, which we also post on our website, was intact and had been so since the date of the briefing. I asked the Office of the Legal Advisor to look at this, including a look at any rules that we had in place. In so doing, they learned that a specific request was made to excise that portion of the briefing. We do not know who made the request to edit the video or why it was made. To my surprise, the Bureau of Public Affairs did not have in place any rules governing this type of action. Therefore, we are taking immediate steps to craft appropriate protocols on this issue, as we believe that deliberately removing a portion of the video was not and is not in keeping with the State Department's commitment to transparency and public accountability. Let me just finish.
Sorry, I didn't know.
I got a little bit more.
It was a dramatic pause.
I was just turning the page.
Go on.
Specifically, we are going to make clear that all video and transcripts from daily press briefings will be immediately and permanently archived in their entirety, and that in the unlikely event that narrow, compelling circumstances require edits to be made, such as the inadvertent release of privacy-protected information, they will only be made with the express permission of the Assistant Secretary of State for Public Affairs and with an appropriate level of annotation and disclosure. I have communicated this new policy to my staff, and it takes effect immediately.
Do you know when the edit or the cut, I should say, occurred? Was it some point afterwards, or was it the same day?
To the best of our knowledge, the edit was done the same day.
And how do you know that it was deliberately removed, as you said?
As I understand it, the request was made, again, back in 2013 over the phone. The recipient of the call, who is one of the editors, does not remember anything other than that the caller was passing on a request from somewhere else in the Bureau.
And are you doing any, I mean, as you said, there was no rules about this, but are you nevertheless investigating further to figure out who did this and why?
The short answer, Brad, is no. As I said, there were no rules in place at the time to govern this sort of action. So while I believe it was an inappropriate step to take, I see little foundation for pressing forward with a formal investigation. My focus as the Assistant Secretary going forward is going to be making sure that we have in place clear policies and procedures that prevent this sort of thing from happening again.
Is there any way, can I follow up on this? Is there any way for you to track all the phone calls that were made to the individual who received that request on that date? And if so, did the Office of the Legal Advisor try to do that so as to establish who may have made the request?
I know of no such technology here that exists that would allow you to do that, and no, that effort was not pursued. Again, it's important to remember there were no rules governing this sort of action in the past. So again, I find no reason to press forward with a more formal or deeper investigation. What matters to me, and I take it seriously, is our commitment to transparency and disclosure, and so we're going to make sure, again, I communicated this morning to the staff, we're going to make sure that this kind of thing can't happen again.
No, I get that. I guess clearly somebody, however, is not as committed to transparency and disclosure as you are, and because it affected a very sensitive matter, not merely the Iran nuclear negotiations, but more importantly, whether a previous person at that podium spoke truthfully, I wonder why you are not making a greater effort to find out who sought to burglarize the record.
Well,
Even if there weren't rules, it stands to common sense and your own inclinations that you be transparent. So I don't understand why you wouldn't try to find out who tried to subvert what has historically been the transparency of the department in these matters.
Well, we did. We tried. I mean, that's why I asked the Office of the Legal Advisor to look at this. I wanted somebody outside the Bureau to take an independent look at it, and they did. And they tried to pursue it, but I mean, it was 3 years ago, and the individual who took the call just simply doesn't have a better memory of it. And there were no rules, no regulations in place that prohibited this. So I feel like we did due diligence. We did take a look at this. We did try to find out what happened. And frankly, we did learn quite a bit, right? We learned that there was a deliberate request, that this wasn't a technical glitch. This was a deliberate request to excise video. And as I said, I said it this morning to the staff, I don't find that to be an appropriate step to take. So again, my focus is going to be on the future and making sure that that we have the right rules in place to make sure it doesn't happen again.
One other one for me.